The wind is a physical thing, a wall of ice and needles that shoves me back down the slope. My lungs burn with every breath, pulling in air so cold it feels like swallowing glass. Snow has soaked through the legs of my pants, a creeping, paralyzing cold that leaches the strength from my muscles. I can't feel my toes anymore. I can't feel my fingers. All I can feel is the frantic, drumming beat of my own heart and the sharp, stabbing pain in my side. They're still behind me. I can hear them, their heavy boots crunching through the crust of the snow, their voices ripped to shreds by the gale but still carrying a thread of coarse laughter. They're not in a hurry. They know I'm trapped. The mountain is a cage and they are the hunters. I stumble, falling to my knees in a drift that comes up to my thighs. The impact jars my teeth, and for a moment I just stay there, face down in the silent, suffocating white. It would be so easy to just stop, to let the cold take me. But the memory of their faces, the flat, dead look in their eyes when they found my camp, propels me forward. I wasn't just a researcher to them, a woman cataloging alpine flora. I was something to be used and discarded. I scramble forward, crawling on my hands and knees, a desperate, undignified scramble for survival. The trees here are different, older. Massive pines and firs, their branches heavy with snow, stand like silent sentinels. The air changes. The biting wind eases, and a strange stillness settles over the forest. It's a silence that feels heavy, watchful. I push myself to my feet, leaning against the rough bark of a tree, and that's when I smell it. It's not the clean, sharp scent of pine or the sterile smell of snow. It's something else, something wild and musky and ancient. It smells of damp earth, of fur, of blood and dominance. It's the smell of a predator so far up the food chain that everything else is simply prey. My blood runs cold, a different kind of cold than the one seeping into my bones. This is a primal fear, the kind of terror that lives in the lizard part of your brain. I forget the men behind me. This is a different kind of danger. I force myself to move, my steps clumsy and loud in the newfound quiet. I break through a line of dense fir trees into a clearing, and the world stops. There, standing on a rise of rock overlooking a frozen stream, is the source of the scent. It's a wolf. But that word is too small, too domestic for the creature I'm seeing. It's the size of a bear, its shoulders broad and powerful, its legs thick with muscle. Its fur is the color of charcoal and shadow, mottled with patches of gray that blend perfectly with the storm-darkened rocks. It's not looking at me, but its head is turned, its ears swiveling, and I know it hears every frantic beat of my heart, every ragged gasp of air. Then it turns its head, and its eyes find mine. They are not the eyes of an animal. They are a deep, intelligent gold, and they hold a weight of centuries in them. There is no madness in them, no simple hunger. There is a calm, terrifying awareness. It takes a step toward me, and the ground seems to shake. It doesn't crunch the snow. Its massive paws seem to absorb the sound, moving with a liquid, impossible grace. The men burst through the trees behind me, their guns raised. "There she is!" one of them yells, his voice harsh and ugly in the sacred quiet. The wolf's head snaps toward them, and a low growl rumbles from its chest. It's not a loud sound, but it feels like the world is vibrating. The men falter, their bravado evaporating in the face of something they cannot comprehend. "What the hell is that?" the other one whispers, his gun trembling. The wolf ignores them. Its golden eyes are back on me. It takes another step, then another, closing the distance between us. I am frozen, a statue of ice and fear. I should run, I should scream. But I can do nothing but watch as this impossible creature approaches. It stops a few feet from me. The heat radiating from its body is a furnace in the frozen air. I can see the steam rising from its dark fur. It lowers its massive head, and I flinch, squeezing my eyes shut, waiting for the tier of teeth, the final, brutal end. But it doesn't come. Instead, I feel a gust of hot air against my neck and hair. It's sniffing me. A deep, shuddering inhale that seems to pull at my very soul. The scent of it overwhelms me, wild and male and utterly intoxicating. A sound rumbles in its chest again, but this one is different. It's not a growl of warning. It's a sound of possession. It lifts its head and looks at the two men, who are now backing away slowly, their weapons forgotten. The wolf's lips peel back, not in a snarl, but just enough to show the tips of teeth as long as my fingers. The message is clear. She is mine. The men turn and run, crashing through the undergrowth in their panicked flight. The wolf doesn't watch them go. Its attention is entirely on me. It nudges my side with its head, a surprisingly gentle gesture for such a powerful beast. The push is undeniable. It wants me to move. I'm too terrified to disobey. I start walking, and the wolf falls into step beside me, its shoulder nearly level with my own. It is herding me, guiding me deeper into its silent, snow-shrouded domain. We walk for what feels like an eternity, the only sounds the whisper of the wind and the soft thud of its paws against the snow. My body is numb, my mind a blank slate of shock and awe. I am being led by a monster, a king of this wilderness, and all I can feel is a strange, terrifying sense of safety. The forest begins to thin, and ahead I see it. A cabin. It's not a quaint little cottage. It's a fortress of stone and dark timber, built into the side of the mountain, smoke curling from a massive stone chimney. It looks as ancient as the mountain itself. The wolf guides me to the heavy oak door and nudges it open with its snout. A wave of heat and the smell of wood smoke and leather washes over me. I stumble inside, collapsing onto the floor of a vast, single room. The wolf follows, closing the door with a loud thud that echoes in the sudden silence. I lie there, shivering on a rug of some immense, dark fur, watching as the creature moves to the center of the room. The fire in the hearth is a blaze of orange and gold, and in its light, I see the impossible begin to happen. The wolf's body shudders, a violent tremor running through it. There's a sound like rocks grinding together, and I have to look away as its form begins to contort, to shrink and reshape. Bones crack and pop, fur recedes into skin. It's a horrifying, painful transformation, not a magical shift. When I finally force myself to look again, the wolf is gone. In its place stands a man. He is just as overwhelming as the wolf. He's tall. Hey viewers, if unexplained mysteries fascinate you, hit subscribe. Now back to the story. He is just as overwhelming as the wolf. He's tall, towering over me even from across the room, with the same breadth of shoulder, the same powerful build. His skin is pale, like something that rarely sees the sun, but it stretches over muscles that are corded and defined, a testament to impossible strength. Dark hair, the same charcoal shade as his fur, falls in a damp, unruly mess across his forehead, clinging to his temples and the nape of his neck. He's naked, utterly without shame, the firelight casting shifting shadows over the hard planes of his body. But it's his eyes that I can't look away from. They are the same. That same deep, intelligent gold, glowing in the dim light of the cabin. They hold the same ancient weight, the same terrifying awareness. He takes a step, and it's not the silent, fluid prowl of the wolf, but the heavy, deliberate tread of a man who owns the ground he walks on. The floorboards don't creak under his weight, they seem to bow in submission. I scramble backward on the fur rug, my hands sinking into the thick, dark pile, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. The shock is wearing off, and in its place is a raw, screaming terror. This isn't a man. This is the monster from the clearing, just in a different skin. He stops a few feet away, looking down at me, and the sheer force of his presence is a physical weight, pressing the air from my lungs. The scent of him is even stronger now, a dizzying cocktail of wood smoke, damp earth, and that wild, musky smell that is uniquely his. It's the scent of the predator, and my every instinct is screaming at me to flee, to curl into a ball and make myself as small as possible. But there is nowhere to run. Who are you? His voice is a low rumble, the same resonant baritone as the wolf's growl. It vibrates through the floor up my spine and settles deep in my bones. It's a voice used to being obeyed. I open my mouth, but only a choked gasp comes out. My throat is tight with fear, the words frozen on my tongue. He crouches down, bringing himself to my level, and the movement is so fluid, so powerful, that it makes my head spin. The gold in his eyes seems to swirl like molten metal. I will not ask again. The threat is subtle, but it's there, coiled in the quiet intensity of his gaze. My name is Alara, I manage to whisper, the name feeling foreign and fragile in this space. I was hiking, I got lost in the storm. It's a lie, a flimsy, pathetic one, but it's all I have. He doesn't even blink. His eyes rove over my face, my tangled hair, my torn, snow-damp clothes. It's not an appreciative glance, it's an assessment, a predator taking stock of its prey. Hiking, he repeats, the word flat and devoid of belief. In the Moonshadow Mountains, alone, in the middle of winter, with a pack of rogues hunting you. He says it as a statement, not a question, and a fresh wave of ice washes over me. He knows about the men. He was watching. They were just thieves, I stammer, hugging my knees to my chest. They wanted my supplies. He tilts his head, a gesture so similar to the wolf it sends a jolt of primal fear through me. Thieves do not usually hunt their prey with such enthusiasm, and they do not smell of blood and dark magic. Magic. The word hangs in the air between us, sharp and dangerous. My hand instinctively goes to the small, leather-wrapped bundle tucked deep inside my coat, the artifact. It's cool against my fingertips, a faint, almost imperceptible thrum of power emanating from it. It's the reason I'm here. The reason I stole it from the treasury of the Blackwood Pack during their chaotic raid on a neighboring clan. I was just a cataloger, a nobody, but I saw my chance. I thought it was a key, a map, something that could buy my way out of the life I was trapped in. I never imagined it would lead to this. His eyes follow my movement, and for a split second his gaze sharpens, focusing on the place where my hand presses against my side. The air in the room grows thick, heavy with a sudden, palpable tension. "What do you have?" he asks, his voice dropping even lower, becoming a near-inaudible rasp. "Nothing," I say too quickly. "It's just a charm for luck." The lie tastes like ash in my mouth. He rises to his full height in a single, smooth motion, a dark giant against the flickering firelight. He doesn't speak. He just holds out a hand. It's not a request. It's a command. My entire body rebels. Every instinct screams at me to protect the artifact, to keep it secret. It's the only card I have left, but the alternative. I look up at him, at the hard, unyielding line of his jaw, at the ancient, terrifying power in his golden eyes. I know, with a certainty that chills me to the bone, that he can take it. He can take anything he wants, and he might just tear me apart in the process. My hand shakes as I reach into my coat, my fingers fumbling with the leather ties. I can't give him the real one. I can't. My mind races, frantically searching for an out. My pack. I have a small, carved wooden bird in my pack, a trinket from my childhood. It's worthless. It's my only chance. With a surge of desperate adrenaline, I pull my hand out of my coat, not with the artifact, but clutching the small, smooth shape of the wooden bird. I hold it out to him, my palm trembling. "Please," I whisper, my voice cracking. "It's all I have." He looks at the bird in my hand, then back at my face. The silence stretches, taut and unbearable. I can see the flicker of disbelief in his eyes, followed by something else. Something colder. "Anger, you dare lie to me?" The quiet fury in his voice is far more terrifying than any shout could be. He takes a step forward and I flinch back, a cry of pure terror escaping my lips. He stops, his jaw clenched, a muscle ticking in his cheek. For a moment, I see a flicker of something else in his eyes, a struggle, a shadow of pain that vanishes as quickly as it appears. The Shadowbite curse. The thought surfaces from some half-remembered rumor, a whispered tale of the Alpha King's affliction, a darkness that corrupts all he holds dear. Is that what I'm seeing? "I am not a man you can play games with, little thief," he says, his voice dangerously soft. "That scent on you, it is not just magic. It is ancient power. It is a beacon, and it has drawn more than just those pathetic rogues to my mountains." He takes another step, and this time I don't retreat. I'm frozen, pinned in place by the intensity of his gaze. He crouches again, his face inches from mine. The heat from his body washes over me, and my treacherous body responds, a shiver of something that is not entirely fear running through me. His scent fills my lungs, intoxicating, overwhelming. "You will tell me what you stole," he breathes, his golden eyes burning into mine. "And you will give it to me, now." He reaches for me, not for the bird in my hand, but for the front of my coat. His fingers brush against my collarbone, and the contact is like an electric shock. A jolt of pure, raw energy arcs between us, and I gasp. His eyes widen, a flicker of shock mirrored in their golden depths. He felt it too. His hand freezes, hovering just above my coat, and for a heartbeat the world narrows to the space between us. The anger in his eyes is replaced by a fierce, possessive hunger that is far more dangerous. It's the same look the wolf had. She is mine. The thought isn't mine, but it echoes in my head as clearly as if he'd spoken it aloud. "What are you?" he whispers, his voice thick with a confusion that wars with his desire. He's not just talking about the artifact anymore. He's talking about me, about this. Connection, this impossible, terrifying pull between us. I don't have an answer. I can only stare back at him, my heart pounding a frantic, terrified rhythm against my ribs. His hand closes around the lapel of my coat, his grip firm but not bruising. He's going to take it. He's going to find the artifact. And then. I don't know what will happen then. But as he starts to pull, to search the pockets of my coat, a new sound cuts through the silence. A long, mournful howl echoing from somewhere outside the cabin. It's not the sound of the wolf who saved me. This one is different. Higher, more feral. The Alpha King's head snaps up, his body tensing. The possessive hunger in his eyes vanishes, replaced by a cold, hard fury. More of them, he snarls, the sound barely human. He looks back at me, his gaze a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Anger, frustration, and something that looks terrifyingly like protection. You have brought a war to my doorstep, little thief. He releases my coat and stands, turning toward the heavy oak door. He doesn't shift back into the wolf, but the air around him shimmers, crackling with a raw, untamed power. The shadows in the room seem to deepen, to cling to him, and I see it again, that flicker of darkness, the curse that lives within him. Stay here, he commands, his voice leaving no room for argument. Do not move, do not make a sound. He pulls on a pair of dark, heavy trousers that are draped over a chair, then reaches for a thick, fur-lined cloak. As he fastens it at his throat, he looks back at me, his golden eyes burning in the dim light. We are not finished. You and I, when I return, you will tell me everything. He doesn't wait for a reply. He throws open the door, letting a swirl of snow and biting wind into the warm room, and then he is gone, swallowed by the blinding white of the storm outside. The door thuds shut, leaving me alone in the sudden, deafening silence. I'm left trembling on the floor, the ghost of his touch still burning on my skin, the echo of his growl in my ears. He knows. He knows I'm lying. He knows I have the artifact, and he knows it's a danger. But he also felt something else, something between us. I press my hand against my chest, trying to calm the frantic thrumming of my heart. I'm trapped. I'm a thief in the fortress of the Alpha King, a man feared by packs across the territories, a man cursed with a darkness that consumes those around him. And I've brought a war right to his door. I should be terrified. I am terrified. But as I sit there in the quiet, the fire crackling in the hearth, another feeling begins to surface, a small, treacherous spark in the overwhelming darkness. The wolf claimed me, the man desired me. And for the first time since I stole the artifact and ran for my life, I feel something other than fear. I feel a flicker of hope. Because if I am his, then maybe, just maybe, he will protect me, even from himself. The silence in the cabin is a living thing. It presses in on me, thick and heavy, broken only by the frantic drumming of my own heart and the crackle of the fire. I strain my ears, trying to hear past the walls, past the howling wind. For a moment there is nothing. Then it starts. A snarl ripped from the throat of something monstrous. It's followed by a yelp of pain, high and sharp, cut short. The sound is brutal, visceral. I scramble back from the door, my hands finding the rough stone of the hearth. I should run. His command echoes in my head, stay here, do not move. Do not make a sound, but every instinct for self-preservation screams at me to take this chance. The door is right there. Outside is a blizzard, but it's also freedom. I could disappear into the white expanse of the Moonshadow Mountains. But the artifact, and him, the memory of his touch, the electric jolt that seared through me, the possessive fire in his golden eyes, roots me to the spot. She is mine. The thought, his thought, is a brand on my soul. Running feels like a betrayal, not just of his command, but of this terrifying, inexplicable bond. Another snarl, closer this time, and the heavy thud of a body hitting the side of the cabin. The whole wall shudders. I flinch, biting my lip to stifle a cry. I press myself into the corner, pulling my knees to my chest, making myself as small as possible. The sounds of the fight are a chaotic symphony of violence, growls, the tearing of flesh, the crunch of bone. It's savage, primal, and terrifyingly close. I bury my face in my knees, my breath coming in ragged, shallow gasps. I'm a fool, a complete and utter fool to stay. But the hope, that treacherous little spark, refuses to be extinguished. He saved me once. The wolf, with its intelligent, burning eyes, chose me, and the man felt something too. I don't know how long I huddle there, a trembling ball of fear and confusion. It could be minutes, it could be an hour. The storm rages on, and gradually the sounds of battle recede, swallowed by the wind. Then silence again. A silence so profound it's louder than the noise that came before it. My muscles are locked tight, every nerve ending on fire. I wait, listening. Waiting for the door to open, for him to return, or for something else to find me. A floorboard creaks just outside the door. My head snaps up, my eyes wide. The latch lifts with a loud, metallic click. The door swings inward, not with a crash, but with a slow, deliberate push that is somehow more menacing. Snow swirls into the room, carried on a blast of frigid air, and he stands there in the doorway, a dark silhouette against the blinding white. He's not in his wolf form. He's a man, but he looks like a god of war, fresh from the battlefield. Snow dusts his dark hair and the fur of his cloak. His chest is bare, smeared with blood that steams in the cold. It's not his. I know it's not his. He moves with a terrifying stillness, his steps silent as he crosses the threshold and kicks the door shut behind him. The thud of it closing makes me jump. He doesn't look at the fire. He doesn't shake the snow from his cloak. His golden eyes, burning with a cold, controlled fury, are fixed solely on me. The air in the cabin grows thick, heavy, charged with a power that makes the hair on my arms stand on end. The shadows in the room deepen, clinging to the corners, and I see it again, a tangible manifestation of his curse. It's like the darkness itself is drawn to him, an extension of his rage. "You are still here," he says. His voice is flat, devoid of emotion, which is far more frightening than the anger from before. It's the voice of a judge passing a death sentence. I can only nod, my throat too tight to form words. He takes a step toward me, then another, his gaze unwavering. I'm still on the floor, and I have to crane my neck back to look up at him. He stops in front of me, towering over me, a monolith of muscle and barely contained violence. He crouches down, bringing his face to my level. The scent of him hits me then, pine and winter and something else, something metallic and wild. Blood. The scent should repel me, but my body reacts with a traitorous warmth, a deep, primal pull that I am helpless to resist. "The wooden bird," he says, his voice a low rumble. A clever lie, for a child. He reaches out, and I flinch, expecting him to strike me. Instead, his fingers, surprisingly gentle, brush a stray strand of hair from my cheek. The touch is so at odds with the fury in his eyes that it sends a jolt of confusion through me. Did you think I would not know? Did you think the scent of ancient power could be masked by a scrap of carved wood? His thumb traces my jawline, and my breath hitches. The connection between us hums, a live wire in the suffocating silence. I was scared. I finally managed to whisper, the words barely audible. "You should be," he murmurs, his thumb still stroking my skin. His eyes drop to my lips, and for a wild, insane moment, I think he's going to kiss me. The possessive hunger is back, warring with his cold fury, a terrifying and intoxicating mix. But not of me, not anymore. He pulls his hand back as if my skin burned him, and the sudden loss of contact leaves me feeling cold and empty. He rises to his feet, his expression hardening into a mask of grim resolve. "You have brought a war to my lands, little thief. That artifact you carry is a beacon. It sings a song of power that every dark creature and ambitious pack for 100 leagues can hear. Those wolves tonight were just the first. They will keep coming." He paces the small space of the cabin, a caged predator, his movements fluid and powerful. "I cannot leave you here. You are a liability, a magnet for every enemy I have, and I cannot let you go because you will lead them straight to you and the artifact will be lost." He stops pacing and turns to face me. "So you will come with me." It's not a suggestion, it's a declaration. "To your fortress?" I ask, my voice trembling. "To my fortress," he confirms. "You will remain there under my guard until this is resolved." "And the artifact?" The question hangs in the air between us, the true source of all this chaos. His golden eyes narrow. "You will give it to me now," panic claws at my throat. "No." The word is out before I can stop it, a desperate, defiant whisper. He stills. The air grows impossibly colder. The shadows in the room writhe, coalescing around his feet like living smoke. I see it then, a true glimpse of the Shadowbite curse. For a split second, his eyes seem to fill not with gold, but with an endless, fathomless blackness. A void, a hunger that has nothing to do with desire. It's the look of a thing that consumes. It's gone as quickly as it appeared, but the image is seared into my mind. "You defy me?" he asks, his voice dangerously soft. "After everything I have shown you?" "It's the only thing keeping me alive," I blurt out, scrambling to my feet. My legs are shaky, but I force myself to stand to meet his gaze. The moment I give it to you, I have no value. I'm just a thief. You'll kill me. A flicker of something, surprise, respect, crosses his face before being stamped out by his iron will. You think me a fool, he growls. Your life is tied to that artifact. As long as you have it, you are a target. As long as you are with me, you are under my protection. Your value is not in the trinket you carry. It is in the fact that you are mine. The possessive claim lands like a physical blow, stealing the air from my lungs. It's not romantic. It's a statement of ownership, as absolute and unyielding as the mountains themselves. And yet, it's the only thing offering me a sliver of safety. He sees my hesitation, my internal war. He sighs, a sound of profound frustration. We waste time. More will come. We leave now. He turns and grabs a thick, fur-lined cloak from a hook by the door, throwing it at me. Put it on. I fumble with the heavy fabric, my fingers numb with cold and fear. He pulls on his own boots and a heavy leather tee. Eunuch, I fumble with the heavy fabric, my fingers numb with cold and fear. He pulls on his own boots and a heavy leather tunic, lacing it up the front with practiced, brutal efficiency. Every movement he makes is economical, filled with a coiled power that makes the small cabin feel even smaller, like the walls are pressing in on me. The cloak he threw at me smells like him, pine and winter and that wild metallic scent of blood that clings to him like a second skin. I pull it on, the fur lining a shocking, decadent warmth against my chilled skin. It's too big, swamping my frame, but I'm grateful for it. It's a flimsy shield, but it's all I have. Come, he commands, his voice leaving no room for argument. He opens the door, and the full force of the blizzard invades the cabin, a howling vortex of white and cold. I hesitate for a fraction of a second, my gaze falling to the loose floorboard where the real artifact is hidden. A small, carved stone that hums with a power I don't understand. The wooden bird was a decoy, a childish trick he saw through in an instant. The real source of all this trouble is still here. Safe, for now. Now, he snaps, his patience worn thin. I force my legs to move, stepping out into the maelstrom. The wind is a physical blow, stealing the breath from my lungs and whipping my hair across my face. The snow is already up to my knees, and every step is a struggle. The world has dissolved into a chaotic swirl of white and gray. I can't see more than a few feet in front of me. He, however, seems unaffected. He stands at the edge of the porch, his head tilted slightly as if listening to something beyond the storm's rage. Then he turns his golden eyes to me. This will be faster. And you will not survive the journey on your own 2 feet. Before I can ask what he means, he begins to change. It's not like the stories, not an agonizing, bone-snapping transformation. It's a fluid, terrifyingly beautiful unfolding of power. His form shimmers, the lines of his body blurring and reforming. The leather tunic and fur cloak melt away into his skin, which ripples with dark fur. His limbs lengthen, his spine curving, his face elongating into a majestic, terrifying muzzle. In the space of a single, heartbeat-stopping moment, the man is gone, and in his place stands a wolf. A wolf the size of a horse, with fur the color of a starless midnight, and eyes that burn with the same intelligent, molten gold. He is not just an animal. He is a force of nature, a king in his true form. The shadows that cling to him seem to deepen, swirling around his massive paws like ink in water. The shadow bite curse is more visible in this form, a tangible aura of darkness that makes the air around him feel cold and heavy. I'm frozen, a statue of pure terror and awe. He takes a step toward me, and the ground trembles slightly under his weight. He lowers his great head, his hot breath fogging in the frigid air. A low, rumbling sound vibrates from his chest, not a growl of threat, but something else. An order. He nudges my side with his nose, and the force of it is like being shoved by a man. The message is clear. Get on. My mind rebels, my body screams. But the blizzard is howling, and I know he's right. I won't last another 10 minutes out here. With a trembling hand, I reach out and touch his fur. It's coarse and thick, impossibly real, and warmth seeps from him, a stark contrast to the biting wind. Swallowing my fear, I grab a handful of his ruff and haul myself onto his back. It's like climbing onto a living, breathing mountain. I scramble for purchase, straddling his broad back, my hands buried deep in the thick fur of his neck. He waits until I'm settled, then he surges forward. The world explodes into motion. We are not running, we are flying. The snow and wind scream past us, but he moves through the storm as if it's nothing. He's a black arrow shot through the heart of the blizzard, his powerful legs eating up the ground with impossible speed. I have to lie flat against his back, my cheek pressed into his fur, just to keep from being torn off by the gale. The scent of him is overwhelming now, a primal, intoxicating wave that floods my senses. Pine, winter, wildness, and the dark, metallic tang of his curse. It should be horrifying. Instead, a treacherous part of me revels in it. A deep, instinctual part of my soul recognizes this power, this dominance, and feels safe. It's a madness. I am a prisoner, being taken to the fortress of a monster who claims I am his, a man with a curse that corrupts those he loves. And yet, clinging to his back as he devours the landscape, I feel a sense of security I have never known in my life. The cold can't touch me. The wind can't throw me. The rival packs, the dark forces drawn to the artifact hidden in the cabin, they are all behind us. For this brief, terrifying moment, the only thing that exists is me, him, and the wild, beautiful fury of the storm. I don't know how long we travel. Time loses all meaning. There is only the rhythmic pounding of his paws against the snow, the rush of wind, and the solid, undeniable reality of the body beneath me. I close my eyes, focusing on the warmth of him, the steady rise and fall of his sides as he breathes. The fear is still there, a cold knot in my stomach, but it's joined by something else. A pull. A fascination. I think of the man in the cabin. The way his eyes burned with a possessive hunger that warred with his cold fury. The gentle, shocking touch of his thumb on my jaw. The way he claimed me as his, not as a person, but as a possession. Your value is not in the trinket you carry. It is in the fact that you are mine. The words echo in my head, a dark promise that is both a threat and a lifeline. I am his. And as long as I am his, I am protected. The thought is as seductive as it is terrifying. Eventually, I notice a change in the air. The wind dies down, though the cold remains, a deep, bone-chilling dampness. The blizzard recedes, replaced by a thick, eerie mist that clings to the ground and coils around the jagged peaks of the mountains. He slows his pace, his movements becoming more cautious, more deliberate. We are entering his territory. The mist is unnatural. It doesn't swirl or drift, it hangs heavy and still, muffling all sound, creating a world of silent, gray shadows. It feels like an extension of him, of his curse. A perpetual shroud that hides his fortress from the world. Through the gray veil, I see it first as a silhouette, a monstrous shape against the pale sky. As we draw closer, details emerge. It's not just a fortress, it's a city carved from the mountain itself. Black stone towers claw at the sky, connected by high, arched bridges. Walls as thick as ancient trees are studded with gargoyles and jagged battlements. It looks less like a home and more like a tomb, a place of immense power and profound sorrow. There are no lights, no signs of life, only the oppressive silence of the mist. He stops at a massive gate of black iron, so tall it disappears into the mist above. The gate is covered in intricate carvings of wolves and moons, a testament to a lineage that stretches back into the depths of time. He lets out a low, resonant howl that cuts through the silence. The sound vibrates through my entire body, a call that is both a challenge and a declaration. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, with a groan of ancient metal, the gate begins to swing inward. He moves through the opening, and I feel a dozen pairs of eyes on us immediately. They emerge from the mist and the shadows of the gatehouse, wolves of all shapes and sizes, their fur shades of gray, brown, and black. Their eyes glow in the dim light, gold, amber, and green. They are his pack, and they are not happy to see me. A low chorus of growls ripples through the assembled wolves. Their lips curl back, revealing white fangs. The air crackles with hostility and suspicion. I shrink back, pressing myself closer to the Alpha King's back, my heart hammering against my ribs. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't acknowledge their challenge. He simply walks forward, his head held high, his golden eyes fixed on the main keep of the fortress. The sheer force of his presence is a physical thing, a wave of dominance that silences the growls and forces the other wolves to shrink back, their ears flattening against their skulls in submission. He is their king, and his will is absolute. We cross a vast, empty courtyard, our paws and my boots the only sounds on the slick, wet stone. He leads me not to the main doors of the keep, but to a smaller, more discreet entrance on the side. He stops, and I know he expects me to get off. My legs are stiff and numb, and I nearly collapse when my feet hit the ground. He stands beside me, a towering, formidable guardian, as the door creaks open. A man stands there, tall and lean, with sharp features and silver-streaked black hair. His eyes are a pale, calculating gray, and they fix on me with an immediate and undisguised disdain. He's dressed in fine, dark clothing, a stark contrast to the Alpha King's primal form. "My king," the man says, his voice smooth and respectful, but his eyes never leave me. "You were successful." "She is with me, Kale," the Alpha King's voice rumbles in my mind, a shocking, intimate intrusion that makes me gasp. It's not a sound spoken aloud, but a thought placed directly inside my head. It's deep, powerful, and laced with an undercurrent of impatience. The man, Kale, gives a slight bow, but his expression remains hard. "I see. And what is she?" "She is my guest," the Alpha King projects, the word guest laced with a possessive weight that leaves no room for misinterpretation. "And she will be treated as such. See that a room is prepared for her in the East Wing, adjacent to mine." Kale's gray eyes widen almost imperceptibly, a flicker of shock quickly masked by his stoic demeanor. The East Wing, adjacent to the King's chambers. The significance is not lost on me, and it's clearly not lost on Kale. It's a declaration, a public claim. "Of course, my king," Kale says, his voice tight. He steps aside, gesturing for us to enter. The Alpha King brushes past him, his shoulder bumping the other man's with subtle, deliberate force. I hurry to follow, the heavy cloak trailing behind me. As I step past Kale, he speaks again, his voice low enough that only I can hear. "Be careful, little thief." The word is a venomous whisper, a snake coiling in the damp air. I flinch, my heart seizing in my chest. Before I can even process the insult, a low growl vibrates through the stone floor, a sound so deep it feels more like an earthquake than a noise. It's coming from the Alpha King. He hasn't turned, hasn't moved, but the power of his displeasure is a physical force that presses in on me, on Kale, on the very air in the corridor. "Mind your place, Kale." The voice is in my head again, but this time it's not for me. It's a razor-edged command, filled with a cold fury that makes the hair on my arms stand up. Kale pales, his gray eyes widening with a flicker of genuine fear before he schools his features into a mask of blank obedience. He bows his head slightly. "My apologies, my king." The Alpha King doesn't acknowledge the apology. He just starts walking again, forcing me to scurry after him, leaving Kale standing in the doorway like a resentful statue. We're inside now, in a long, echoing corridor. The air is cold, carrying the scent of ancient stone, damp mist, and something else. Something wild and metallic that I recognize as the Alpha King's own scent. It's stronger in here, a lingering signature that clings to the very fabric of the fortress. Torches cast flickering, dancing shadows on the walls, their light barely penetrating the oppressive gloom. The walls are lined with faded tapestries depicting epic battles, wolves tearing at one another, wolves standing under a blood-red moon, wolves bowing before a colossal, shadow-crowned figure. It's a history written in violence and power. He leads me down a series of twisting passageways, his paw steps silent on the flagstones, my own boots echoing loudly in the silence. I feel like an intruder, a speck of dirt in a sacred, dangerous place. Finally, he stops in a large, circular chamber. In the center of the room is a raised dais, and on that dais is a massive, fur-covered pallet. This is his private sanctum. He turns his great, horned head and looks at me, his golden eyes unreadable in the dim light. Then, the air around him shimmers. It's like heat haze rising from a summer road, but the air is ice cold. A sound rips from his chest, not a growl, but a sound of agony and effort. I watch, horrified and mesmerized, as his transformation begins. It's not the smooth, magical shift of storybooks. It's brutal. Bones snap and pop, reshaping themselves with sickening cracks. His massive frame contorts, the fur receding as if burned away by an invisible fire. His form shrinks, the powerful haunches lengthening into human legs, the great wolf head melting away to reveal the line of a man's shoulders and neck. I should look away. I know I should. It's a private, violent moment, but I can't. I'm frozen in place, a witness to a terrible, beautiful miracle. Through it all, he doesn't make a sound beyond that initial grunt of pain. His jaw is clenched, his muscles corded and straining, his face a mask of sheer willpower. And then I see it. As the fur on his back vanishes, a dark mark is revealed. It's not a tattoo. It's a swirling, shadowy pattern that seems to move, to writhe just under the surface of his skin. It's black as ink, with tendrils that creep out from his spine and wrap around his ribs like thorny vines. The Shadowbite curse. Seeing it makes the air catch in my throat. It's a physical manifestation of the darkness that lives inside him, a brand that marks him as corrupted. It's horrifying. And yet, even in this moment of raw, painful vulnerability, he is magnificent. The transformation completes, and he rises from his crouch on the dais, standing before me in all his naked glory. He is every bit as imposing as he was in his wolf form. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a body sculpted from muscle and battle. His skin is pale against the dark, writhing marks of his curse. His dark hair is damp with sweat, falling over a brow that is knotted in a scowl. His eyes, when they meet mine, are still that burning, predatory gold. He is the Alpha King, a man, a monster, a cursed ruler, and he is completely, unashamedly nude. A hot blush floods my cheeks, and I tear my gaze away, staring at a particularly interesting crack in the stone floor. My heart is a frantic drum against my ribs, a chaotic rhythm of fear, awe, and a shocking, undeniable pull of attraction. "Clothes," he says, his voice a low, rough rumble that is no longer in my head. It's the first time I've heard him speak as a man, and the sound is like gravel and honey, dark and impossibly compelling. A side door I hadn't noticed opens, and a stooped, silent woman enters, carrying a stack of black fabric. She doesn't look at me, her eyes fixed on the floor as she offers the clothes to the king. He takes them without a word, and she retreats, closing the door with a soft click. He dresses slowly, methodically. Black leather trousers that hug his powerful legs, a soft, dark gray tunic, and heavy, worn boots. Each article of clothing is a piece of armor, covering the vulnerable man and recreating the imposing king. When he is dressed, he turns to me fully. The raw, primal energy of the wolf is gone, contained now beneath a veneer of cold, regal control. But it's still there, simmering in the depths of his golden eyes. "You will stay in the East Wing," he says, his voice leaving no room for argument. "You will not wander the fortress. You will not interact with the pack unless I give you express permission. You are a target, a beacon for every rival and dark thing that craves what you carry. Your presence here puts my people at risk. Therefore, you will be contained." The words are a prison sentence, but his tone is complicated. It's not just anger. It's the weight of responsibility, the burden of a king protecting his own. He sees me not as a person, but as a problem. A dangerous complication he has now taken ownership of. "Do you understand?" he asks, taking a step closer. I nod, my throat too tight to speak. He is so close I can feel the heat radiating from his body, can smell the clean scent of his skin and the faint, dark trace of his curse. "Say it," he commands. "I understand," I whisper, the words barely audible. His eyes narrow as if gauging my sincerity, my obedience. This is another test. He's testing my submission. I hold his gaze, trying to project a placidity I don't feel. Inside, I'm a storm of conflicting emotions. I'm terrified of him, of this place, of what will happen to me. But I'm also furious at his high-handedness, and a treacherous part of me is thrilled by his dominance, by the sheer force of his will. He seems to find what he's looking for in my expression, because he gives a short, sharp nod. He turns and strides to the door, pulling it open. Kale is waiting right outside, his posture rigid. The Alpha King doesn't even look at him. "Kale will see you to your room," he says to me, then pauses. His gaze sweeps over me, from my tangled hair to my mud-splattered boots. It's an assessing look, one that makes my skin tingle. "You will be provided with everything you need. Food, clothing, a bath, be ready when I call for you." And with that, he's gone, disappearing down the corridor like a wraith, leaving me alone with his hostile second-in-command. Kale's gray eyes are like chips of ice. "This way," he says, his voice dripping with condescension. He leads me through more winding corridors, up a grand, curving staircase, and into a part of the fortress that feels different. The air is warmer, the stone walls covered in rich, dark wood paneling. The torches are brighter here, housed in ornate silver sconces. We stop outside a tall, carved oak door. He opens it and gestures for me to enter with a sarcastic flourish. "Your chambers, little thief." I step inside and my breath catches. The room is enormous. A fire crackles in a massive stone hearth, bathing the space in a warm, golden light. The floor is covered in thick, plush rugs. A huge four-poster bed dominates one wall, draped in dark green and silver fabrics. There's a door leading to a luxurious-looking bathing chamber, and another, a heavy, iron-bound door on the far wall. My eyes are drawn to that second door. I know without having to be told that it connects to his room. "The king is generous," Kale says, his voice laced with sarcasm as he follows my gaze. "He doesn't bring strays home often, especially not ones who bring the kind of trouble you do." I turn to face him, my fear momentarily overridden by indignation. "I didn't ask for any of this." "No." He takes a step closer, his presence intimidating despite his leaner frame. "You stole from the Moonshadow pack. You trespassed on sacred ground. You carry an artifact that has drawn the attention of every power-hungry mongrel in the territory. You may not have asked for this, but you certainly earned it." His words are a slap in the face, a brutal reminder of my own stupidity. I have no defense. "He's right. What do you want?" I ask, my voice quiet. "I want to know what you are," he says, his eyes sharp and calculating. "You're human, but you're not. You smell." "Wrong. The king is blinded by whatever pull he feels from you, but I am not. I see you for what you are, a threat." He's trying to scare me, to get information. I can see it in the predatory glint in his eyes. I think of the artifact, a small, smooth stone carved with runes that hums with a faint energy, currently sewn into a hidden pocket of my cloak. My only leverage, my only danger. "I'm just a person who was in the wrong place at the wrong time," I say, repeating the lie I've told myself 1,000 times. "A convenient lie," Kale scoffs, his lip curling, "but a lie nonetheless." He takes another step, invading my personal space, and I force myself not to flinch back. His scent is different from the king's, sharper, like cold steel and winter frost, with none of the underlying warmth or dark spice. "The king may be fascinated by your scent, by whatever anomaly you are, but I am not. I am loyal to this pack and to its survival. You are a rot at our core. I will be watching you, every moment. One wrong move, one hint of betrayal, and I will personally tear out your throat." The threat is delivered with a chilling, casual finality. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't have to. I believe him. Completely. He holds my gaze for a long, silent moment, his gray eyes promising a swift and violent end. Then, just as suddenly as he advanced, he retreats, a flicker of a cruel smile on his lips. "Enjoy your accommodations." He steps out into the corridor and pulls the heavy oak door shut. The sound of a heavy iron bolt sliding home echoes in the opulent room, a final, definitive clang that seals my fate. I'm a prisoner. A beautifully dressed, well-fed prisoner, but a prisoner nonetheless. For a moment, I just stand there, the air knocked from my lungs. The sheer, terrifying reality of my situation crashes down on me. I'm trapped in a fortress full of werewolves, at the mercy of a cursed alpha king who sees me as a problem to be managed, and a hostile second-in-command who wants me dead. And all of it is because of the small, heavy stones sewn into the lining of my cloak. Panic, cold and sharp, claws at my throat. I run to the door Kale just exited, my hands scrabbling at the dark wood. It's solid, unyielding. I push, I pull, I throw my shoulder against it. Nothing. I'm locked in. My gaze darts around the room, searching for another way out. The windows. I rush across the plush rugs to the tall, arched window set into the outer wall. It's made of thick, distorted glass, held in a frame of black iron, and when I try to lift the heavy iron latch, I find it's sealed shut, probably bolted from the outside. Peering through the glass, I can see the swirling mist that perpetually shrouds the fortress, and far below, the jagged, snow-dusted peaks of the Moonshadow Mountains. There is no escape. Not from here, not from this height. Defeated, I slide down the wall, my back pressing against the cold stone, and bury my face in my hands. The adrenaline that kept me going through the ambush, the confrontation with the king, the shift with Kale, finally drains away, leaving me hollowed out and shaking. I'm so tired. So bone-deep, soul-weary tired. I just want to go home, but I don't have a home, not anymore. I sit there for a long time, listening to the crackle of the fire and the frantic beating of my own heart. Slowly, the warmth of the room begins to seep into me, chasing away the chill of my despair. I force myself to my feet and take a proper look at my prison. It's the most beautiful room I've ever seen. The firelight dances on the dark wood paneling, making the silver inlays on the furniture gleam. A table near the hearth is laden with a silver-domed platter, a crystal decanter of what looks like wine, and a goblet. My stomach rumbles, a painful reminder that I haven't eaten since yesterday morning. I lift the dome and my eyes widen. Roasted fowl, glazed to a deep golden brown, surrounded by roasted root vegetables and small, new potatoes. The scent is heavenly. I tear off a piece of the crispy chicken skin and pop it into my mouth. It's delicious, rich, and savory. I devour the meal like a starved animal, not even bothering with the fork and knife provided. I wash it down with the deep red wine, which is smooth and potent, warming me from the inside out. As I eat, my gaze drifts to the other door in the room. The bathing chamber. The promise of hot water is too tempting to resist. I push the door open and gasp. The room is made of the same dark stone, but the air is thick with steam. A massive, sunken tub carved from a single piece of black marble dominates the space, filled with steaming water that smells of pine and something else. Something wild and musky, like the Alpha King. On a ledge beside the tub are cakes of soap, jars of scented oil, and thick, soft-looking towels. I peel off my filthy, mud-caked clothes, wincing as the fabric pulls at dried blood and grime. I look down at myself. I'm a mess of scrapes and bruises, my skin pale and thin. I catch my reflection in a polished silver mirror hanging on the wall and barely recognize the wild-eyed, haunted creature staring back at me. I sink into the hot water with a groan of pure, unadulterated bliss. The heat seeps into my sore muscles, loosening the knots of tension and fear. I wash my hair, scrubbing away the dirt and the memory of the forest floor. I use the scented soap, the pine and musk scent filling the steamy air, enveloping me in the alpha's essence. It's unsettling and strangely comforting all at once. As I soak, my mind drifts back to the dais, to the sight of him shifting, the raw power, the agonizing beauty of it, and the curse. The shadow bite, a living thing crawling across his skin. I saw the pain in his eyes, the vulnerability he tried so hard to hide. He's not just a monster. He's a man carrying a terrible burden. And he claimed me. Not with words, not yet, but with his actions. He saved me, brought me here, contained me. I am his problem, his responsibility. His. The thought sends a shiver through me that has nothing to do with the cooling water. It's a mixture of terror and a terrifying, exhilarating thrill. I am the possession of the Alpha King. I finish my bath, my skin pink and glowing. I wrap myself in one of the enormous, fluffy towels and walk back into the main bedroom. On the foot of the four-poster bed is a new set of clothes. A simple, long-sleeved tunic of soft, dark green wool, a pair of black leather leggings, and warm woolen socks. There are even new undergarments made of fine linen. They are my size, as if chosen specifically for me. The thought is both intimate and unnerving. I dress quickly, the clean clothes a comforting weight against my skin. I feel human again, or at least a cleaner version of the frightened creature I've become. Now that my immediate needs are met, the real problem rears its head. The artifact. I sit on the edge of the bed, my heart starting to pound again. I reach inside my discarded cloak, my fingers finding the hidden seam. I carefully work the stone free. It's cool to the touch, despite the warmth of the room. It's about the size of my palm, a smooth, dark gray river stone, but it's unnaturally heavy for its size. Etched into its surface are a series of runes, the same ones from the ruined temple where I found it. They glow with a faint, silver light, so dim it's almost imperceptible. As I hold it, the low hum I've come to associate with it seems to intensify, a vibration that travels up my arm and settles in my chest. It feels alive. What did the king call it? A beacon. He's right. It's a beacon for trouble. I found it in the Moonshadow Pack's treasury during a raid by a rival pack, a chaotic, bloody mess where I was just trying to survive. I saw it glowing amidst the chaos, and some instinct, some stupid, reckless impulse made me grab it. I thought it might be valuable enough to buy my passage out of the territory, to start a new life somewhere far away. Instead, it's led me here. To him. I stare at the runes, tracing them with my fingertip. I don't know what they mean, what the stone does. I only know that it's powerful. And dangerous. The Alpha King thinks I know its secrets. He thinks I'm a thief who knew exactly what she was taking, but I didn't. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The lie I told Kale feels flimsy now, a pathetic defense against the truth of my own foolishness. What do? Do I confess? Tell him I'm just a fool who stumbled into something I don't understand? Would he believe me? Or would he see it as another lie, a trick? Kale's words echo in my mind. I see you for what you are, a threat. If I tell the king the truth, he might see me as an even bigger threat, an ignorant, unpredictable one. Or maybe he'd see me as a victim, someone else caught in this mess. But looking at the cold, hard logic of his actions so far, that seems unlikely. He is a king first, a man second. He will do what is best for his pack. And if that means sacrificing me, he will. No, my only chance is to keep the secret. To play the part of the cunning thief, to bide my time and look for an opportunity. An opportunity to escape or to use the stone to bargain for my freedom. It's a dangerous game, but it's the only one I have left. I'm about to hide the stone again when a strange sensation washes over me. A warmth spreading from my chest, a low thrumming that seems to resonate with the stone in my hand. The silver light of the runes brightens for a second, pulsing once, twice, before returning to their faint glow. And I feel it. A pull. A magnetic, undeniable tug coming from the direction of the iron-bound door, the door to his room. My head snaps up, my eyes fixed on the dark, imposing wood. The pull is faint, but it's there. A connection. Is it the stone? Is it reacting to his proximity? Or is it me? The thought is terrifying. The idea that I might be connected to him, to the cursed, brutal Alpha King, against my will. I scramble off the bed, my heart hammering. I quickly resew the stone into the lining of my cloak, which I now hide under the mattress. It's not a brilliant hiding spot, but it's the best I can do for now. I need to put distance between myself and that door. I pace the room, my bare feet sinking into the thick rugs, but the pull doesn't fade. It's a low, steady hum under my skin, a constant reminder of his presence on the other side of the wall. What is he doing in there? Is he sleeping? Is he thinking about me? The thought sends a jolt of electricity through me. I stop pacing and stand in the center of the room, my hands clenched into fists. I am resisting him. I am. I'm not some simpering female to be won over by dominance and power. I'm terrified of him, of what he represents, of what he could do to me, but I can't deny the attraction. It's a primal, chemical thing, a pull as undeniable as the one I feel from the stone. He is magnificent, a monster and a king, a creature of darkness and power. And I am alone with him in his fortress with only a locked door between us. I walk towards the connecting door, drawn by a force I can't name. I don't touch it. I just stand a few feet away, staring at the intricate ironwork. I can feel the cold emanating from it, but I can also feel the warmth of him on the other side. It's a confusing, intoxicating mix. I lift my hand, my fingers hovering just inches from the cold iron. What would happen if I knocked? What would happen if I tried the handle? Is it locked from his side? The urge to find. The urge to find out is a physical pain, a knot in my stomach that tightens with every beat of my heart. It's a reckless, stupid impulse, the same kind that made me snatch the stone from the treasury. But I am tired of being afraid, tired of waiting for the next blow to fall. My fingers, trembling slightly, close the final inch. They brush against the cold, black iron. A jolt, not of electricity, but of something far older, something primal, shoots up my arm. It's not painful. It's a recognition. The hum in my chest deepens, resonating with the metal, with the presence beyond. The handle, a simple, unadorned lever of iron, is cold beneath my palm. I push down. It doesn't creak. It doesn't resist. It swings inward with a silent, heavy grace as if it's been waiting for me. The air that flows out is different from the clean, pine-scented air of my room. This is his scent, richer, more complex, old wood, burning embers, night air, and the wild, musky smell of wolf. It wraps around me, potent and intoxicating. His room is larger, the ceiling lost in shadow. The furniture is massive and dark, carved from the same ancient wood as the door. A fire burns low in a great stone hearth, casting dancing, flickering light across the floor. And he is there. He's not on a throne of furs as I'd half imagined. He's standing by the window, a broad, powerful silhouette against the perpetually misty night. The window is open, letting in the chill of the Moonshado Mountains, and the sheer curtains billow around him. And he is shirtless. My breath catches in my throat. I've seen him shift, seen the raw power of his wolf form, but this is different. This is the man. His back is to me, a landscape of sculpted muscle and tense sinew. His skin is pale in the dim light, but it's marred by the curse. The shadow bite. It's not just a few veins, as I'd seen from a distance. It's a sprawling, intricate network of black, spidery lines that crawl across his shoulders and down his spine, looking like a dark, permanent tattoo of a lightning-struck tree. They pulse with a faint, sickly purple light, a slow, rhythmic beat that matches the thrumming in my own chest. He doesn't startle. He doesn't turn in surprise. He turns slowly, deliberately, as if he's been expecting me, as if my presence on the other side of the door was a foregone conclusion. His eyes, the color of a stormy sea, lock onto mine. They are not angry. They are not mocking. They are intense, filled with a hunger that mirrors the ache suddenly blooming low in my belly. Couldn't stay away, little thief? His voice is a low rumble, vibrating through the floorboards and up my legs. My mouth is dry. I can't think of a single lie, not a single clever retort. The truth tumbles out, pathetic and flimsy. The door, it was open. A ghost of a smile touches his lips, but it doesn't reach his eyes. It's a predatory smile. Was it? Or did you just want to see what was on the other side? He takes a step towards me, and I instinctively take one back, my bare foot hitting the threshold of my own room. The connection between us pulls taut, a vibrating string. Tell me, what do you see? My gaze flickers from his face to the curse on his chest. The black veins spread from his heart, a dark starburst of corruption. They crawl over one pectoral, twine around his bicep. I see the agonizing beauty of it, the terrible power. I see the man, not the monster, but I can't say that. I see the Alpha King, I whisper, my voice barely audible. His smile fades. He takes another step, closing the distance between us until he's standing just inside the doorway, a towering figure of shadow and firelight. The heat radiating from his skin is a stark contrast to the cold iron of the door beside me. And what does the Alpha King see? He lifts a hand, not to touch me, but to brace it against the doorframe, caging me in. His arm is thick with muscle, the veins of the shadow bite stark against his skin. He sees a thief, a liar. A woman who carries a beacon for war into my home, and then plays innocent in a bath. I'm not playing, I force out, my chin tilting up in defiance. It's a fragile shield, but it's all I have. I was a thief. I stole the stone. I was a thief. I stole the stone. The words hang in the air between us, a raw, unvarnished truth. I expect him to roar, to call for his guards, to finally mete out the punishment I've been dreading since I was caught in the snow. He does none of those things. Instead, he does something far more unnerving. He nods, a slow, deliberate dip of his chin that acknowledges my confession as if it were a simple, expected fact. I know, he says, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the floorboards and up my legs. My defiance evaporates, replaced by a cold wash of shock. You know? You carry the scent of it. Faint like a memory of a storm, but it's there, under the fear and the soap. His gaze drops, tracing the line of my collarbone, and for a terrifying second, I think he can see through my skin, through the fabric of the borrowed nightgown, to the stone hidden beneath my mattress. But the question isn't what you stole. I know what you stole. The question is why. His eyes lift back to mine, and the intensity in them is a physical weight. Why did you take it, little thief? Was it greed? The promise of riches beyond your wildest dreams? The accusation is an easy one, a simple motive he can understand. I could lie. I could spin a tale of a starving family or a debt I had to pay. But looking into the ancient, knowing depths of his eyes, I know any lie I tell will crumble to ash. So I give him a sliver of the truth, the part that feels most real. It was an accident, a mistake. He laughs, a short, harsh sound devoid of humor. No one accidentally breaches the Moonshadow treasury. No one mistakenly walks away with the heart of the pack. There was a raid, I blurt out, the words tumbling out in a rush. A rival pack. They tore the place apart. I was just there in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was chaos, and I saw it just lying there, glowing amidst the blood and the gold. I didn't think, I just grabbed it, and I ran. I'm breathing hard, the confession leaving me feeling stripped bare. It sounds pathetic, even to my own ears. The excuse of a child caught with her hand in the cookie jar. He studies my face, his expression unreadable. The firelight flickers across the harsh lines of his jaw, catching the sickly purple pulse of the shadow bite. For a long moment, the only sound is the crackle of the hearth and the wind howling outside the fortress walls. An accident, he repeats softly, testing the word. He leans in closer, his arm still braced against the doorframe, caging me. His scent washes over me, stronger this time, and I have to fight the urge to close my eyes and just breathe him in. And in your panic, in your accident, you didn't once think to drop it, to leave the cursed thing behind? I couldn't, I whisper, and it's the truest thing I've said yet. It felt like it was holding on to me. His gaze sharpens, a flicker of something like understanding in their stormy depths. It binds itself to its holder, a parasitic little trinket. It feeds on emotion, on intent. It latched onto your fear, your desperation. It made you run. He says it with a certainty that chills me. He knows more about the stone than anyone has a right to. As he speaks, the low hum in my own chest deepens, a painful echo to the purple light pulsing in the veins on his chest. It's a sympathetic ache, a terrifying resonance. I gasp, my hand flying to my sternum, pressing against the bone as if I could physically push the pain away. The movement is instinctual, a futile gesture against a force I don't understand. His eyes, those stormy, ancient eyes, narrow. They drop from my face to my hand, to the place where I press against my own chest. The predatory stillness that falls over him is more terrifying than any roar. He's no longer just a man confronting a thief. He's a predator that has just sensed a weakness, a shift in the scent of the prey. What is it? He asks, his voice losing its rumbling quality, becoming sharper, more precise. What do you feel? I can't answer. The pain is a strange, hollow ache, a vibration that seems to originate not in my body, but somewhere deep within the stone I can feel hidden just floors below. It's a cold, pulling sensation, and at the same time, a strange, terrifying echo of the purple light I see on his skin. He doesn't wait for an answer. He moves. His hand leaves the doorframe, and for a heart-stopping second, I think he's going to touch me. Instead, he takes a swift step back, breaking the cage of his arms, and the sudden rush of cold air between us is a physical shock. He turns his head slightly, his gaze unfocused, as if listening to a sound only he can hear. The muscles in his back tense, the black veins of the shadow bite standing out like ink on parchment. It's resonating, he murmurs, more to himself than to me. With you. He turns back to me, and the look on his face is no longer just intense. It's haunted. A flicker of some old, deep pain crosses his features before being buried beneath the hardened mask of the Alpha King. The curse, the stone, they're singing to each other, and you're the chorus. The word sends a shiver down my spine. I'm not just a thief, a liability, I'm a part of this, a component in the terrible, beautiful machinery of his curse. I don't understand, I breathe, my hand still pressed to my chest. Of course you don't, he says, his voice hardening again. He takes a step back into his room, away from me, and the distance feels both like a relief and a loss. You stumbled into a war you know nothing about. You stole a relic that isn't just gold and magic, little thief. It's a key and a lock. He paces the length of the room, a caged animal in his own domain. The firelight dances across his skin, making the shadow bite seem to writhe. The heart of the pack was forged from the first Alpha's soul, bound with the Earth's magic. It was meant to be a source of unity, of strength, but like all power, it can be corrupted. It can be twisted. He stops by the hearth, staring into the flames. His silhouette is a study in contradictions, powerful and vulnerable, monstrous and magnificent. My ancestors bound a dark magic to it, a weapon to use against our enemies, but the weapon had a price. It carries a taint, a shadow, and that shadow is what you see on my skin. He turns his head, his profile sharp and severe in the firelight. The shadow bite, it's the physical manifestation of that taint. It passes from alpha to alpha, a legacy of power and pain. It makes us stronger faster, but it also corrodes. It feeds on our emotions, our bonds. It turns love into a poison. My heart hammers against my ribs. I think of the way my body reacts to him, the ache low in my belly, the unwanted pull of attraction. Is this real, or is it the stone, the curse? It hurts people, I manage to ask. He lets out a short, bitter laugh. Hurts is a gentle word for it, little thief. It consumes. Anyone I hold close, anyone I let in, the curse reaches for them. It latches on. It's a slow, creeping death, a shadow that leeches the life from them until there's nothing left but a husk. He turns fully to face me, and the raw agony in his eyes is a punch to the gut. I have watched it happen. To my father, to my mate, I will not watch it happen again. The word mate hangs in the air, heavy with grief. It explains the hardness in him, the brutal reputation, the solitary existence. He's not just a king, he's a man trapped in a cage of his own bloodline, forced to keep everyone at arm's length to save them. And I, in my foolish, accidental theft, have brought a beacon right into the heart of his fortress. A beacon that is now, impossibly, connected to his curse. The ache in my chest deepens, a sympathetic throb of sorrow for him. I didn't know, I whisper, the words utterly inadequate. No one ever does, he says, his voice flat, empty of emotion. He walks back towards me, but this time his movements are slower, more deliberate. He stops just short of the doorway, his gaze searching my face. Which brings us back to you. The stone is latched onto your fear. It's using you as a conduit. And because it's here, under my roof, it's amplifying the curse. It's calling to the shadows, and to our enemies. He leans forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Rival packs can sense it. Dark creatures, things that haven't been seen in these mountains for centuries. They are being drawn to it, to you, to us. The weight of his words crashes down on me. I'm not just a thief who got caught. I'm a lure, a living, breathing bait for a war I never wanted. What do we do? I ask, the question sounding small and helpless in the vast, echoing room. A slow, dangerous smile touches his lips. It's the first genuine smile I've seen from him, and